Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video from Radio 1.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. So we're going mental with Divya Mohindroo. She's a counseling psychologist and founder of Embrace Imperfection. She specializes in community and educational psychology. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, Divya. Great to have you with us.
Thank you, Erica. It's all my pleasure.
So I was very interested in talking to you because, of the fact that you specialize in educational psychology. And I think it's very important to talk about our children and their mental health.
Yes.
Many would ask, why is it important? Why is childhood mental health important?
Yes. So, Erica, I would state some facts with you. Like World Health Organization, WHO, has informed us that 10 to 20% small children now have, mental health disorders, not even mental health issues. About 50% of children get mental health disorders by the age of 14, which increases to 75, percent by their mid-20s. So I feel childhood, as I've also worked in many schools and many universities, I feel a lot of children face, different kind of issues, which, like parents, teachers, they don't see through. Something I feel that depression is a very common issue. So depression goes, well seen and treated. But there are other issues like bullying and, ADHD and, anxiety. Anxiety is one issue with COVID coming in. A lot of children are facing anxiety, which, parents and teachers have been brushing off. Like, it's normal, or, toughen up, or don't behave like, boys are told, don't behave like a girl. And girls are said that toughen up, behave like a man. And, these statements make a child weak mentally. And, I feel that mental health is very important, and one should cultivate positive emotions in a child rather than, just telling a child such statements.
Right. I mean, like you said, the pandemic has taken its toll on all of us, in fact, in particular with children. But so how is we as parents and as primary caregivers, how can we help lighten their load? Because, they're all coming back to schools and universities and colleges now, and we will have face-to-face interactions with them. So how can, we as parents and primary caregivers lighten their load?
So I feel for parents and caregivers, because we spend most of the time, with children. So it's very important how we model healthy coping mechanisms to children. So how that is like how we talk to children about how we, have handled our struggles or our situations. That will help the child, model that kind of behavior, because children are always like sponges. They are absorbing whatever we talk to them, whatever we are doing, they're observing from the room. So caregivers and parents need to talk to their children about how they have coped up in the past. The other thing which I feel is that, parents have started giving too much attention to the children's problems also. Like there has to be a balance here. Like I feel that children should be problem solvers for their smaller problems, like their day-to-day issues. Like parents should not interfere in every problem of the child. So, I've seen the children who are able to handle the smaller issues in life later become more, become stronger to handle bigger setbacks.
Right.
So daily issues should not be like, they should listen, but they should, give the child the confidence to, take a lead to solve the smaller issues.
That is very important, because I think generally, Indian parents tend to be helicopter parents always, and I'm guilty of it. I'm quite sure, in the process of me bringing up my son, I have been like a helicopter mom. I know, and I've had to literally hold myself back. So I agree with you there, give them the opportunity to solve their own little life's issues, because in the playground of life, they will come across many bullies. They'll come across many situations that they really need to find their own resources to resolve.
And I feel also like to promote digital literacy. I feel like children are now they have a lot of access to laptops, to computers, everything. So, you must sit and educate your child, make a child literate about what is good content, what is not so good and how much time they should spend on digital devices. That should be that is another way. And last, I feel is like a lot of children come up to their parents and say, I'm not good at this, or I'm not, which is we say combat negative thinking.
Mhm.
Or the child will say, mama, ye to main kar hi nahi sakta, ya I will never be able to do this, or I'm a bad child, or my peer said this to me. So at that time, instead of saying, oh, just to cut that thought, speak to your child, reframe their phrases. Say, maybe you're not a good dancer, but wow, you create such good art. So positive reframing is very important for parents and teachers,
Yeah,
to do.
very
So
true.
these are some things which I feel parents and caregivers can do, which will help the parents and to lessen the anxiety in children these days.
Yeah. So, can you share some telltale signs or behavioral symptoms that indicate that a child or a teen may be in distress?
So, Erica, it's really sad, but like in our country, we do a lot of labeling, like maybe a child, like, has this disorder, and, we come up to, oh, the child is suffering from depression. So
Mm.
clinical intervention is very important when you see the signs. However, I feel that, one can understand when the child is in distress by some simple signs, which I'll just tell you. One would be like, if a child has a sudden shift in behavior. For example, an active child starts being very lethargic, or doesn't feel like going to play, or starts daydreaming, or procrastinating, or just doesn't do his homework. A child who's very good with academics, and it doesn't stops doing homework. So that is a red flag that maybe the child is feeling something is off.
Yeah.
Right. Another thing is that the child becomes irritable, and there are sudden outbursts, like the child would become short tempered, or he will start answering back, argumentative. So that is another sign which shows that the child maybe is going through some emotional distress in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of physical symptoms which go unseen, or we like Indian parents, oh god, bachcha bimar ho gaya, ya bachcha aaj school nahi jayega. Like for example, when I was growing up, and I used to be a child who used to love, maybe making my dad, leave me to school. So I used to pretend coughing, and, pretend that as if I'm going to vomit. And then my dad used to be like, oh, oh, my mom used to say, give her a domestic. But that's not the thing. That was a psychological, thing which was happening to me. So a lot of children show physical symptoms like headaches in the morning, or vomity feeling, or things like that, which show that probably the child has some distress.
Right.
Another thing is maybe sleep changes, like the child is sleeping too much, or the child is not able to sleep in the night, fatigue.
Mm.
There's some, or changes in the diet, when the child starts overeating, or is eating very less, or is bringing back the tiffin, which shows that these are some symptoms which show that the child has some distress that has brought in change in his regular activities or regular sleep cycle.
Right. I mean, we have to sort of keep a watch out for it. Like you said, hyperactivity or change in demeanor, change in personality, change in food habits, all of that. It could point to something, or at the same time, it could not. But the idea, I think, is to try and investigate as quickly as possible. Okay. Can you give us some? These are simple to do things, right? The pandemic is all about us. We've had this going on for 2 years now. We've just about had enough. We've reached saturation levels, and our environment has been so unstable in the last 2 years.
Yes.
Can you share some stabilizing environmental or things that we can do to stabilize the environment for our kids? Simple suggestions or actions that will possibly influence the well-being of our kids.
So I feel that, there is a lot of lack of control, which everybody is feeling. Parents are feeling lack of control, like, we are working from home, we are restricted in like smaller spaces. So I feel that there are a lot of measures which one can take even being at home. One very important thing, which I feel is a very simple thing to do, is to add gratitude in your life. Like, 5 minutes of being thankful. Like that's important for parents as well as probably could be teachers, it could be students, everybody. Like just a simple activity. Like for example, whenever I go for work in the lift, whenever I'm going to the floor where I'm working, 5 minutes, in that 5 minutes, I think, what are the good, what are the people, like who are the people who are in my life constantly supporting me, and I feel, show gratitude towards them. Or what is the kind of good work am I doing? So making the child for children, maybe putting some nice flowers in their room, or maybe making the child smell a nice flower, or maybe showing the child a family photograph, and telling the child to feel 5 minutes of gratitude every day. And any habit will take about 21 days, I feel, to become, to come in your lifestyle. So that can be one thing, which is a very simple thing to do at home, and it will create positive vibes.
Yeah.
And another thing which I feel is like, there should be an activity, physical activity. Exercise is very important because it releases happy hormones. So for the children, I feel 1 hour of physical activity, you can break it into 2 times, half an hour each. It could be like, depending upon how much stamina the child has, that will release a lot of stress hormones, that will create positivity, that will make the child feel tired enough to get a good sleep. So exercise is the second thing. Number 3, I feel that hydration is very important. So a child should be in a habit of carrying his bottle everywhere, wherever he goes, and just sipping water throughout the day, because
Right.
that removes any kind of stiffness, soreness in the body, which can make your mind think negatively. So hydration is very important. As I said earlier, nutrition, eating healthy, or having small meals in a day, especially now that children are at home. So not overfeeding the child like in one go, because when the child feels lethargic, negative thoughts come in the child, body disorders come in the child. Girls feel that, oh, we have become fat, and maybe when we come back to school, we won't be, our peers will make fun of us. So making a child's schedule on their food, like 15-20 minutes of eating, and meal time should not have any devices on. It should be just maybe reading a book or listening to some calming instrumental music. Not even, like, I would suggest, like, not even music with words, because that distracts a child. An instrumental sound which soothes a child, should be there. And I feel sleep is another very important thing. So for sleep, I feel, like a lot of people come to me and say that how can we force a child to sleep? Or, if the child is disturbed, how can we make the child sleep? So there are a few things which I would suggest, like whenever in the night the child is sleeping and when the child gets up in the morning, they should not be, uh, you know, uh, overwhelmed with devices in their room, or with loud music in their room. A child before sleeping and getting up half an hour, there should be a digital detox for the child. There should be
Right.
no TVs, no laptops, no nothing. And some children, some parents make their children get up just 5 minutes before the school, and then they put them in front of the laptops. So
Uh-huh.
that makes the child, that affects the child's sleep cycle. A child should be very calm before they sleep. Either they should just do a prayer, or they should just lie down in their bed. They should journal. Journal is a very good activity, journaling. That write down, maybe 5 things you are feeling right now, or 5 things you're grateful for, or just draw something or anything which makes the child feel happy. Journaling, or maintain, like we used to maintain a dear diary, a
Yeah.
diary where we can write all the thoughts. Some activity like that should a child should be doing in the morning and in the night,
Yeah.
instead of so as I say that, like a car has 4 wheels. A parent or a caregiver should promote these 4 wheels: sleep, exercise, nutrition, and hydration in the child, to keep their mental and physical well-being.
That is fantastic. Thank you so much for the share. I'm going to move on to schools and colleges and universities reopening. Now
Yeah.
there are anxieties that are coming with that as well. Fears of returning to face-to-face classes, fears of catching the virus when you do return. missing their devices. I've heard parents say that, oh my goodness, my daughter's gone back to school, but she's missing her device at home. So these are very unique challenges that are popping up. How can we address these?
So, I always say that, technology is a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
You have it, it's a problem. You don't have it, it's a problem. To create a balance is extremely difficult for parents these days.
Yeah.
Children have become rebellious, and they also, as I say, they are observing all the time. So I've been hearing a lot of children saying, "ये भी तो चला के देखते हैं, या इनका तो laptop पूरा दिन on होता है." So, why won't we watch?
Yeah.
So I feel that for technology, I would suggest that, one should monitor the content, which is very important, like threatening content or graphic images, which are too overstimulating for the child, should be kept away. So, now, thankfully, we are so technologically savvy. Parents should have, the right kind of control over the children's laptops, etc., phones or whatever, and whatever the staff, whichever, they don't monitor, but sometimes when the parents are away, the children use their staff phones. So all that should be maintained, but maintained in a way that the child does not get the same feeling from the parent, that the parent is trying to control the child.
Right.
So one should, parents should encourage, when they have a screen time, maybe encourage video calls with their peers, or keep play dates instead online, or make the child talk to their grandparents on video call. That is all positive family bonding, which will which will make the child feel that, yes, I have the device, but yet it will be the child will be able to become more resilient, doing something which is positive, like bonding with their family. So that's how I feel the technology should be used. Also, I feel that every child has a different way of reacting to a situation. For example, you might be a very chilled out person, and I might be a very hyper person. So a parent should not feel that, oh, one of my child is not behaving in this way, why is your peer behaving. Instead, I feel if a child has a tendency of worrying too much, there's a very good I feel a hit formula, which is set a window for a child, which is a worry window. Now, in this worry window, whenever the child in the day talks to you that, oh, I'm stressed about this, or you feel that the child is getting into that thinking zone, tell the child, snap out. We will talk about your problem in that 15-minute worry window you have. So, just make a area in your room, or in the drawing room, or in the garden, wherever the child's favorite place, and make the child sit there, and for 15 minutes just make the child vent out, talk, listen, give your full attention to that child for 15 minutes to talk only about their worries. So after a few days, or a week or so, the child himself will stop worrying the whole day, will not get into that overthinking cycle, and will look forward to that 15 minutes of worry, where the just focuses 50.
Very interesting. Okay.
And another thing which I feel is that since everybody is feeling out of control, we should be sensitive that a child also feels out of control. So things which a child can have control on, like tangible actions, which we say, like, for example, you can tell the child that, okay, why don't you choose your lunch every day? You have to tell mama, or you have to tell cook bhaiya, what lunch will you have? So the child will feel control, like, I am the person who is deciding the lunch for myself. My mom is not trying to enforce her views. Or probably you can encourage the child for washing their hands, or doing things, simple actions in the day on which the child has control. So for that, the child will feel that, I'm not getting out of control, or maybe, going back to school, or, going back to meeting my peers. Confidence will be built through small actions.
Right. Okay. So incremental change, to prep them up to get back into the way things were, fingers crossed. Importantly, self-care for parents, because oftentimes we tend to ignore ourselves, so that we are not out of control, and we should be able to handle a distressed child. Talk to us about that, self-care for parents.
So, I am seeing that a lot of parents have also lost their balance in this process of, like maintaining a balance between work, home, children, also having your spouse all the time, with you, so I feel that there has been a lot of heavy burden on parents to, I don't know, like there's a sense of competition, especially I feel in, cities like Bombay, Delhi, and that the other child or the peer is doing so well online, or is doing so well, so why not my child? So a lot of self-esteem issues and poor concentration, and the parents are facing that. Now I feel that what happens is that your child is continuously noticing you and observing you, and is getting those emotional cues from you. So if you are emotionally distressed and hyper, and showing your child irritability, and oh my god, why can't you do this, or oh my god, you can't do that, and shouting at the staff or snapping at your spouse, so the child immediately will get distressed, seeing, oh, my mom was so calm, and was like why. So self-care,
honestly, I mean, it's a case of cabin fever, right? We've all been through it in the last 2 years. It's just inevitable. So some of this is bound to rub off onto our children. So
yeah, and like we all are human beings, we all have our emotions. So I feel some self-care is very important for every human being in the day, like for parents, I would suggest, like for example, like if there are a lot of things to do under self-care, but I would say maybe if you have a very busy schedule, or if you're a very busy mom, why not, like maybe take 10 minutes of self-care, in the sense, oil your hair, or take a hot shower, or use some essential oils, and which can calm you. That is one way of soothing yourself, that is why. But some people are like, I don't even have I don't have time to take a bath, my child is outside, so that is one way. The other thing which I feel is that for everybody, this is a very good way of taking self-care, is creating a zen zone in your house. Now, a zen zone is a quiet corner, which is just your corner. That corner is, that place is for you to, maybe sit, meditate, do your office work, listen to calming music. As I said, instrumental music is a great way, to take care of yourself. Just listen for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or anything. Do that in that one corner. That is your space, which is just my space, my corner. That is a very good way of feeling a kind of self-love for yourself, that, oh, at least I have one place. Another way which is very relaxing is deep belly breathing, which I feel, which is the like inhale through your nose and exhale out through your mouth, 4-3-7 technique. It's a proper, anywhere, anyone can just play a YouTube video of box breathing or of the 4-3-7 technique, and just do that breathing exercise wherever you are, whether you're in the car or whether you are at home. You can do it anywhere, which will really calm your anxiety and your senses. That's very nice for parents, especially if anytime you're feeling overwhelmed with your child, or with the school pressure, or with your spouse pressure, whatever. It will just help you calm down your senses. And I think a very good way is making a checklist, like not a monthly checklist or a daily checklist, but a weekly checklist, wherein you just write whatever you do, and you can share it with somebody else. Like for example, if you are two colleagues or a friend, and just you will feel accountable, and you'll feel that you're sharing it. So that's kind of a self-care, like you have a routine, you have a checklist. And definitely I feel that exercising, giving 10-15 minutes or whatever you love doing every day, or I would say though these small steps, they might feel very small, but in the whole day, when you do it regularly, they will have an impact.
Absolutely. I have to agree with you. I mean, I love massaging my feet. That's what I do at the end of the day. I just, slather on the lotion and potions, but that just really calms me down. So thank you so much for all your wonderful tips and, really, really practical suggestions, everyday things that we can do. And thank you so much for easing us through all our stresses and anxieties that this crazy pandemic has brought upon us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Erica. It was my pleasure.
94.3 One World, your station.
Radio 1.